Hey Bruce, how do you sell things online? Let me think about that for a second. That's a good one. I know. Today we're going to talk about my 7 rules for buying and selling things online. Roll the intro! Hey YouTube, how you doing today? Bruce for Blackboard Rules. Today we're going to talk about buying and selling on online platforms like Kijiji or Craigslist. You know, over the years I've sold a ton of stuff and I've also bought a ton of stuff. And so I've got a few rules that I live by. Point number 1, decide what you're going to sell. For example, I have this microphone here. I want to sell it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take some pictures of this, probably a few different angles of it, so whoever wants to buy it can see what they're getting into. Another point I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a description of the item. Concise. I'm going to describe this as accurately as I can. So what I would say about this is a Shure SM58 in reasonable shape. Secondly, do some research on the item. Whenever I'm looking to buy something, especially used stuff, what I'll do is I go online and I have a look at the prices of the item that I'm looking for. I also have a look at the features of the item, so I know exactly what I'm getting into before I get there. Whenever I price items, I put the price plus OBO behind it. OBO stands for or best offer. That way, when the buyer looks at that, he knows that maybe he can negotiate with you a little bit. That way, the buyer may be a little bit more eager to deal with you as opposed to Mr. Jones down the block, who's got a very similar item, but maybe is really firm on his price. Number 4, meeting up. So once the buyer and the seller have established that they want to get together and do a transaction, they make the arrangements to meet. If you're dealing with an item that you can carry in your arms, I would suggest meeting in a neutral place, whether it be a coffee shop like Starbucks or a McDonald's maybe, or even the Walmart parking lot. Whatever works for you. Unless it's a big item, I usually don't want people coming to my home. I'm not saying that people are bad, but there's a lot of different people out there and my privacy is very important to me. So if I don't have to share with someone where I live, especially someone that I don't really know all that well, I don't. Also, when you're setting up your meets, sellers, please be available. If you really want to sell your item, then sell it, but be available to sell it. Don't tell the buyer, hey, I can probably meet up with you a week from Tuesday. You know what, that buyer's going to move on to somebody else. I know I sure would. Especially when I'm buying a product or an item, what I'll tend to do is I look online, I find several different people who are selling that same item, and I'll throw messages out to like 3 or 4 of them. The first one that responds usually gets my business. Buyers, if you've set up a meet already and for some strange reason you cannot make it, please let the seller know. What really ticks people off is having their time wasted. So if you're not going to come to the meet, let them know in advance. Number 5, and this is a real important one. And the reason I take a deep breath is because some people need to learn this lesson. Be prepared to negotiate. Whenever I sell an item, whether it's a phone or my camera or whatever, what I tend to do is I will price the item slightly higher than what it needs to be. For example, I have a bottle of water here. If I want to get $10 out of this bottle of water, what I'm going to do is I'm going to price it at $15 or $20. That's where my or best offer comes into play. Because when I meet the buyer, he needs to feel like he's going to get a deal. See, this has got to be a win-win situation for everybody. And everybody should go home feeling good. The seller should feel like he's gotten what he's needed. And the buyer should go home feeling like, hey, I've won on this. I got a good deal on this. Do not get to the meat and go, oh, I'm taking that. This is what I'm given. You have to be flexible. In buying and selling, you got to be flexible. It's actually one of the fundamental rules of sales. Number 6. Very, 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 I cannot emphasize this enough. Very, very important rule that I live by. Never be afraid to walk away from the deal. If you go to the meetup and you look at the item and it's not what you want, or it's broken, or whatever, you don't like the look of the guy that you're dealing with, walk away from it. I check Kijiji, I check Craigslist, eBay every week. There's always the same items coming up every week, every few days. So don't be afraid to walk away from the deal. Like I said before, you need to feel good about it. And number 7, also a very important rule to me. When I'm selling used gear, I have a warranty that I give. And you know what that is? It's 30 seconds or 30 feet, whatever comes first. See, the deal is, once the item has left my site, whether it's been put in someone's pocket, the buyer gets into their car and drives off with it, I have no idea what's going to happen to that item. And I've had to deal with issues before where a buyer will call me back and say, hey man, this thing doesn't work. I got it home and it doesn't work. And I go, well, you were happy with it, you paid me for the item, and we parted ways. So now that onus falls on the buyer. Like I said before, I've sold a ton of stuff online. eBay, Kijiji, Craigslist, etc., etc. The great thing is, in going out and buying and selling items over the years, I've met a lot of great people. I've met a few weirdos too, but I've met a lot of great people and actually formed some friendships and some great relationships from doing so. If you guys have any comments or pointers or rules that you use to sell online, please leave them in the comments down below. That way, everyone can get a chance to see them. Also, if you have a question or any messages to me, leave them in the comments down below too, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up down below as well. And you can give that subscribe button a big crush too, because we have new videos and new material coming out all the time that you can benefit from. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Bruce for Blackboard Rules, and we'll see you in the next video. I think we should roll the outro.